Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. This is Michelle Osborne. I hope you're doing fabulous on this Tuesday. Thank you for joining the webinar today. Yes, so excited about this one. I am the Program Development Coordinator and Communications Coordinator for the Quebec City Reading Council, and I also coordinate the project for Community Learning and Action. And this year, of course, as you may or may not know, is all about digital literacy. And today, we are doing a webinar on online navigation, shopping, and banking. Now, these are the basics. So if you are not very comfortable being online or not very comfortable with the tools for shopping and all of those different types of things, this webinar is for you. And before we get right into the webinar, I just want to say this is our second last digital literacy webinar. And next week, tomorrow we will be joined by Tabby Nyoni. She is going to be talking about how she has been successful in her business as an English speaker in Quebec and who doesn't speak any French at all, but has been a really successful entrepreneur. And she's going to talk to us about branding, business strategy, and all that kind of stuff. So that is tomorrow, a live Facebook event right here at QCRC. And then on May 21st, our last digital literacy webinar. It's all about how to maintain your computer. I know some of you want to know a little bit more about that because computers are not cheap and we want to keep them going for as long as possible. So not a long webinar, but a very useful and important webinar for you. And that's on May 21st. So today, online navigation, banking, and shopping. We will get started right now. Just going to move things around. And I hope you find this one very useful because a lot of people, sorry, of course, we have technology problems. A lot of people still feel intimidated by being online, still want to know a little bit more about shopping and some of the things to be aware of and the security of it all. People ask me all the time, Michelle, is it secure? And we're going to answer that in today's webinar. So let's start to share the presentation and we will get all into it. Okay. Perfect. Here we are, the basics of online navigation. First, what we are going to cover. So today, we are going to cover just the basic terms of online navigation, terms that you should know that will be helpful, because if you do not know these terms, then it might be a little bit difficult for you to navigate online. Then we're going to talk about just the tips for navigating online so you can do it more effectively and efficiently, and they're the real basics, so don't be afraid, okay? I'm going to give you some tips on how to shop safely online, maybe some things you might know, maybe some things you might not know, and then how to get started with online banking. And so some of you might say, who doesn't do online banking? Actually, a lot of people don't do online banking because they are unsure of it, and the security issue, again, I always get questions about the security issue. So we're going to get into that. So let's first start with terminology, because if you don't understand some of this terminology, you are going to be lost when you're trying to navigate online. And these are really basic terminologies that you should really know in order to feel comfortable. So we're talking about the browser, which is basically an application that people use to surf the web. And that's that browser, that line at the top of your email screen that has all of those numbers and words and everything for you to get to different websites. Download, it just means copying data from your computer system so you can hold on to that information and use it for future use. Email refers to electronic messages. And so that's just sending emails or sending messages back and forth to one or more people. Apps. Apps is the short form for application, and it can be on a telephone, it could be on your computer, it could be on an iPad. So those are those little add-ons, what some people also call them, for you to be able to use different things on your mobile devices. Cloud computing. This may be really new to some people because we're used to using CDs for our computers. We're used to using those little keys where you stick it in the side of your computer to save data, but now we are using what we call the cloud, which is basically a place somewhere far, far away where they hold onto your data and you no longer have to use a CD or a USB storage key, and you can get or access this data from wherever you are. So instead of having to carry it around, if you left your key or your CD at home, now it doesn't matter because your information is on the cloud, and that is an organization that holds your information so that you can access it anywhere you are. Okay, second page. And there's so much terminology out there. I chose what I thought would be most important for you to understand and to be more comfortable. So this list of terminology is absolutely not exhaustive. So if you want to learn more, we're going to talk about how you can learn more so you know how to feel more comfortable online. So e-commerce is basically when you buy stuff off the internet. That's what e-commerce is. Search engine is a program that identifies the items that match your keywords. So it's a program, and when you type into your computer, I want to know more about literacy, let's say, a program puts those words into your computer, so then it brings you information on that specific topic of literacy. Firewall, it may be a basic term, may not be a basic term, but I thought it's really important for you to know because it's all about security, and a firewall blocks information that you don't want coming to your computers. So it's very important to have that security feature on your computer. ISP, you'll hear that a lot, whether you call in to whoever does your cable. It's called Internet Service Provider, and they are the company that makes sure you can access information online. Key words, so it's words or phrases that describe whatever you are looking for on a web page. And spam, which is basically the electronic version of junk mail, not the mail that comes to your house, but junk mail that goes to your computer. URL is an acronym for Uniform Resource Locator, and it is that web page or the web address for your website. For example, the URL for QCRC, who you're watching right now, is www.qcrc.org. So it's the name of the organization that you go to online to find out more about that organization. Website, of course, it's a virtual location on the internet, so that's where you go to find more information. Wiki, this is interesting. Wiki means fast or quick, and so it's a website that lets people add information to the website about a person, about an organization, about something. So a good example here is Wikipedia. I'm not sure if you've heard of Wikipedia before, but it's a well-known kind of online dictionary where if you want to know more about a certain subject, a certain person, etc., you can go there to find out more. And people contribute information to that site, particular organization or person. So it's not just one person writing it, people can add information to it as well. Social media, which is hot right now, of course, and that's all about being social online and interacting with different people using different types of media, whether you're sending pictures or sending videos or sending any type of information online through a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter. That is what social media is. And link, of course, that's a piece of text. As you can see on the screen, you'll see at the bottom, it's in blue. I always make sure to reference wherever I have the information. And if you actually clicked on it or hit it with your mouse or your finger, depending on what type of computer you have, it would open up to a web page that had all of the information that I received for the presentation or for whatever you're doing. So those are some terminologies. I know I went through them very quickly. I don't want to, stay on them for very long, but I encourage you to take a look at them again and understand what they mean, because I think they are ones that are really important for you to know as you navigate online. Next, we're going to talk about just the basic tips for navigating online. And what do you have to do first? Of course, you have to choose a web browser. And a web browser, like I said before, is an application that you use to be able to look for websites, information, etc. And I have listed here the 4 probably most popular web browsers that people use. There are others, but these are the ones that people use the most and that you have probably seen or have used in the past. So Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and Safari. Safari is exclusively for Apple users or Mac computer users. But what's interesting enough is that Mac users can also use the other software applications. So we're talking about which is the most popular or not the most popular, and is it secure? Because that is one of the biggest questions that I get often with going online. And that's why some people are so apprehensive to go online, because they're thinking about security. So for the web browsers, the ones I just showed you in the previous slide, you can download as many as you want on whatever device you want to. And they're all free, so you don't have to pay anything to download these. You just have to make sure you have the space on your computer to download. And most often computers, especially new computers today, will have the space for you. You can install them and run them, and run them means use them all at the same time if you want. So if you are in Safari, you can also be in Chrome, you can also be in Firefox. So it doesn't matter which ones you have open, you can use them all at the same time. And sometimes at the beginning, when you were getting comfortable online, you might want to use 1 or 2 of them at the same time to see what is best for you. Because another big question I get from people is, Michelle, what is the best browser for you? And I'm just going to go back to the previous slide here. What is the best browser out of all of these? And it's hard to answer this question, and I'll tell you why. Because they update so frequently and at different times that, say you go to Chrome, and today Chrome is the best web browser for privacy, so you'll never get hacked. And then something happens to it, and then Internet Explorer actually happens to be the best one for privacy and security. Perhaps Firefox one day might have the best features or the best things for you to select from, and then something might happen and all of a sudden Safari is the best one from you to select from, excuse me. So I think we can never really say which one is the best. They are all good for different reasons. You have to use one that you feel most comfortable with. That is the biggest thing. And if you're not a huge avid user of going online, if you are just a casual computer user, you are not going to see any difference in where you search for your information. I would say people who work in the technology field, IT field, content creators, when they're on their computer all day long, perhaps those people might see a difference. But if you're a casual computer user, you are not going to see a difference. So my advice to you is to use what is the most comfortable for you. So on this screen, I just pulled up, and this is recent data for 2019. What is the most popular web browser? And by far, Chrome is the most popular today. And it's been quite popular for a considerable amount of time. And why is Chrome the most popular? Because it is connected to Google. Isn't Google running everything right now? It's insane, right? It used to be Internet Explorer that was running everything, and then Google developed Chrome, and because they are one and the same company and they are connected, when you use Google, and we'll talk about Google in a moment, so don't worry about it. If you're not understanding what I'm saying right now, we're going to talk about it in a moment. Google is a search engine that you put information into to find out whatever you want to find out online, whether it's information, whether it's video, whether it's a picture. And because if you use Google, everything is connected. So it will keep all of your information, and anytime you go somewhere, your information is there. And I think that is one of the reasons why it's so popular, as well as it has so many features to it. The privacy is excellent as well. So that is kind of to show you which is the most popular, which is the least popular. But I want to say this, like I said earlier, really, if you are a casual computer user, even if you use the computer every day, but you're not an IT specialist, you're not going to really see a difference. So don't worry about it. If people say Chrome is better, but you are more comfortable using Safari or Internet Explorer, use what is most comfortable for you. And if for some reason you don't like it, you can change. That's the beauty of it. You can take it off your computer and download something else, and it's all free, so you don't have to worry about it. But one of the things I need to tell you about when you do choose your browser is making sure it is secure. And that is a big thing for people who don't like to navigate online very often because they're worried about security. So one of the things you want to do is, one of the things that happens when you get a computer is they do updates. And make sure you do automatic updates, because what happens is, and by updates, I mean giving your computer updated information so it can run with today's information. Meaning if something is old yesterday, it will make sure to put in the correct information so that it can correspond with the information that you have today. Now, you want to do it automatically and make sure your computer is set up that way. And normally they are set up with automatic unless you change it, because if you don't, unless you're an IT person who is always on their computer and knows how to update and knows when they should be updating, you'll never update. So you'll always have old information, which means your computer might not function as well as it should. Always have antivirus software. What is antivirus software? So if someone is trying to hack your computer with a virus to get information, these programs will help stop that so you are safe and secure. So make sure that is always in your computer. And remember, sharing information, receiving information, be really cautious about that, especially if you do not know who the person is that is sending you the information. All of these things, in order to keep your browser secure, pay attention to them. One of the things that I want to say is that if you don't have antivirus software, if you don't do the automatic updates, if you're not cautious about opening emails and what people are sending you and what you are sending to people, that is opening up a big can of worms, meaning that is opening up your computer to be hacked into, or viruses. So you want to really make sure you understand what is on your computer to keep it up to date. And if you don't know how to do it, When you buy your computer, they usually have service people that can help you out and show you, okay? They will provide you with information and they will send you home with information. So if you are not comfortable with that, make sure you talk to them. And there are also a lot of organizations out there that can talk to you about how to keep your computer safe and secure. And on May 21st, when we talk about maintaining your computer, we're going to talk about a couple of those things. Search engines that are really efficient, that will help you to be efficient with your online navigation. So the biggest one that most people know is Google. Google has taken over the world. There's also Bing, there's also Yahoo, but by far people use Google, and they put in their information, whether it's keywords that they want to know to find out more information about. If you want to find exact words on a web page, you would put, for example, mortgage rate between quotation marks. That will help you find exact words on a web page. If you forget what words you're looking for, you still put quotation marks, but you put the asterisks or the little stars within the quote. That will help your search as well. And if you are looking for something on more than one related topic, I have an example here: internet marketing or advertising. Use or between the words. These are just some tips that will help you find what you're looking for easier, rather than putting a web address in the browser at the top, i.e. www.qcrc.org. When you use Google or Bing or Yahoo and you put in words between quotation marks, it's a more efficient way of searching or getting what you are looking for. This is another interesting one. You can go in private or incognito mode. And what does that mean? It means that whatever you put in those search engines, in Google, the words, it will not be seen by others that use your computer. It won't be saved in the computer as well. So in your history, that means other websites that you looked at in the past, it will not be shown in there. But it can still be traced in your search engine if needed. So for Google Chrome right here, I've given an example of how you can go to private mode. You'll see in your web browser at the top, there's 3 little dots on the right-hand side. If you click on them with your mouse, it will give you a list of items to choose from, and one of them will be private mode. And you can also hit Control-Shift-N, which you can see on your computer keyboard. You hit them all at the same time, and that will put you into private mode. And so if you're using Internet Explorer, and I'm just using these 2 because they are the most popular, you can see it in the Tools button at the top of your web browser. You can also hit Control-Shift-P. You hit them on your keyboard and you do them all at the same time. And this also works for Microsoft Edge and Firefox. So these are a couple of options here that you can use if you want to go to private mode, if you don't want people to see what you're searching for, if you don't want people to be able to go back in history to see what you were searching for. These are really good options, okay? Something that you should be aware of. Also, another way to kind of make it more efficient when you're looking for a specific topic online in the online dictionary, it's using the term define. So you would type the word define with the semicolon or the 2 dots beside define, and then you would put the word in it. And so I have an example that says define streamline. And this is what actually will come up when you put that in Google. Define the word, the 2 little dots, semicolon, and then the word, whatever you're searching for. In this case, I put in streamline. It picks up this for you at the top of the page. So this part, if you see on the top left, right beside the word streamline, it looks like kind of like a little horn or sound button. If you clicked on that button, it would pronounce the word for you. And then underneath it, it gives you like a dictionary of the verb tenses, and defines what it means for you. And that really helps to narrow in what you're looking for, and it makes it for a more efficient and effective searching. Another way to navigate online or to go online looking for information is to learn about shortcuts. And what is a shortcut? A shortcut is using your keys on your keyboard rather than using your mouse and drop-down menus. Drop-down menus are when you have labels at the top of your screen, you click on them, and then a list of different things comes underneath it. If you learn how to use shortcuts or the keys on your keyboard, it is a much, much more efficient way to work. And I have an example here on the right-hand side of your screen of some shortcuts for different things that you might want to use while you are looking online. This is definitely not an exhaustive list. This is just an example. Some of the main ones that you might want to learn and know. But there are so many, like in the hundreds of shortcuts. You have to find out what works best for you. If you know that you use certain keys or certain ways to navigate online more than others, then I think it's beneficial for you to learn what those shortcuts are so that you could look online more efficiently. Also, my suggestion is to use tabbed browsing. And what is tab browsing? Tab browsing is kind of new and not really new. That's when you have different lines at the top of your screen, and that has different, what we call windows of websites that you are on, and they can be open at the same time. So one tab or one button can have a website for QCRC, one tab can have a website for community learning and action, and one tab can have a button for IGA and you're doing your grocery shopping. And so by having these different tabs, before you used to have to close down and then open up a new screen. Now you can have different websites up at the same time. So when you're going online and looking for different things, you just have to go through each one of those buttons or tabs at the top, and then you can see all of the different things that you were searching while you were online. You can also hit Control T, which is another shortcut button, and that will open a new page for you every time you want to go to a different website. So that is really useful actually when you are searching online. The shortcut buttons and Control T for tabbing is a good one. Another suggestion or tip for navigating or searching online is all about bookmarking your pages. So say you find a website that is really, really interesting to you and you want to be able to refer to it or go back to it at a later time. Every computer has the feature of being able to bookmark or keep in place that web address, so you don't have to go back on Google and search for it again. You can go into the top part of your browser or your email or your computer screen, and it will show you how to be able to save that page. You can change the name of the page so it's more recognizable or easier for you to know how to see it. And every kind of web browser has a different way of showing how you can use the bookmark page. And for example, on Chrome or Firefox, if you look in the top right-hand corner of your web page, it will show you how to do your favorites. Or you can also hit Control D on your keyboard, and that will also bring up your bookmark page. Another great shortcut or way to use your keys on your keyboard in order to work more efficiently. So great efficient way to navigate online is to make sure you bookmark your pages so you don't have to go back and search for them over and over again, which could waste a lot of time. Now, those were my tips about navigating online. That is a subject that we could go on for days and days and days about. I decided that the tips that I provided with you are very basic tips that will help you to become more comfortable online. and for you to kind of understand the lingo, so when people are talking about it or you see it online, you understand what's going on. And sometimes it takes some time, so never think that, you know, you're going to get it in a day or two. I would say if you want to become more comfortable online, just like anything you want to know more about or anything you want to be more comfortable with it, I would spend a little time every day just being more comfortable with it, getting to know it, so that you don't feel afraid or intimidated to use it the next time. And you know, a big thing about online and navigation is security. And people are just like, am I secure? Am I not secure? We're going to talk about that a little bit more of that with online shopping, but everything is digital now, whether you are online or you go to a bank, everything is digital. So is anything 100% secure? My answer would be no, but things can be 99.9% secure. And so you have to know what's best for you in terms of how to go online and the measures that you put or things that you put into place to make sure you are secure. So we're going on now to online shopping. And so the thing about online shopping that people get nervous about is the security of it. Is it secure to online shop? And so this part of the presentation, I want to talk about security of online shopping because it's a big thing for people. And it's one of the reasons why some people don't shop online. I used to never shop online, and now I find I shop online more than I actually go in the stores. And it's because I've put security measures in place and I'm really careful. So we are going to look at some of the ways you can be careful about shopping online if you want to, because shopping online can be a really great thing. You can see things online or find things online that you could not maybe find in your community. So don't be afraid of it. Just make sure you put the proper security measures in place so that you are not worried about it. First, any site that you make a purchase on should have a padlock. So it looks like a little lock at the top of the website in the address line, and that's where it says www.qcrc.org. Right up there, it should be something that looks like a little lock. And then when you're in the checkout process, if it's not there, that means it's not secure. So make sure that you see that when you're checking out or when you are paying for whatever you are purchasing online. And so this security procedure makes sure that all of your information is encrypted. And what does encrypted mean, Michelle? That is such a big word. Encrypted means make sure all of your information is put into a secret code that nobody can understand. That's what encrypted basically means. So then if someone is trying to get your information, you're on Amazon or a shopping site and you want to buy a shirt or you want to buy a telephone or whatever the case may be, anything of your information, your name, your credit card, your debit card number, your address, all of that information, they scramble it up into complicated numbers and words and codes so that you can't find, no one can find out what it is. So don't feel scared about shopping online, especially when you can see the padlock, because that ensures that your information has been safely put into an encrypted code. Don't purchase from a website if you don't see this padlock, and make sure you check in the web address at the top of your web browser to make sure it says HTTPS and not just HTTP. The S on HTTPS stands for secure. If it does not have that S, it more than likely is not secure, and that is where you want to stay away from, okay? So next, use credit card over debit card. And people say, why? People use debit card all the time. This is why you want to use a credit card over a debit card. It gives you more security than with a debit card. And why? Because if your information is stolen, thieves or the person who is trying to get the information has direct access to your bank account, where if it's a credit card, it can be quickly reversed by the credit card company, okay? So try to use only one credit card for online purchases. Don't scramble between using all 4 or 5 of your credit cards. Use one, because the more information you put online, the less secure you are with sending this information. So always try to use, if you can, a credit card over a debit card, because it's easier and more secure with the credit card company than with a debit card. Say you have your rent to pay and all of your rent is in your debit account and someone takes the information, that will be a problem. It takes a lot more time to get money back and also to prove it with your bank than with a credit card company. Step 3 to keeping yourself secure when you shop online: do not purchase on unsecure networks. So one of the things I mentioned in my earlier slides is when you take a look at the top bar of your web browser and the website you are purchasing from, make sure it says HTTPS, not HTTP, because it means it's not secure. So if you purchase from an unsecure website, this means hackers or people who are trying to get your information, they can go into your device and see the information you are sending if you're not on a secure website. And if you have to enter a password to join the network or the website, then your data is secured when you're on a secure website. If you're on an unsecure website, your information is not secure. So it's easier for people to get that information. So for the most security, only make purchases from your home computer on your network, okay? I really advise against purchasing, like say you're waiting for the bus and you see something and you're using, you know, maybe a network or Wi-Fi, which is the signal that allows you to go online in the area. Wait till you get home and purchases from your home. It's much more secure than being in public and purchasing it while you're at the library or the bus stop, okay? I really, really advise against that. The number four tip for shopping online is make sure you have different passwords, okay? Don't have the same passwords for everything. So make sure they're different for every store if you have to create an account, because if the person who is trying to get your information, the thief, steals from one store and he's like, okay, I'm gonna try and do another one from them from another store, and it's all the same, it means that you're going to get hacked or your information is going to get stolen all of those times because you use the same password. Do not use the same password for every account that you sign up for when you shop online. It makes it much more difficult for the thief or the person that wants your information to be able to get it all. And lastly, make sure you archive or save your receipts online and keep a record of all of these purchases and compare them to your bank statements, because if for some reason you get your information stolen, it's a lot easier to prove if you have saved all of your purchases. For example, anytime I purchase something online, they will normally send you something to your email saying, Michelle, you have purchased this. This is how much it costs, yada, yada, yada. And I save all of them just in case something has happened, okay? You can print them or you can save them directly on your computer. And if you want to know how to do more, that's different for every computer, but if you want to know more about how to save them on your computer, all you got to do is Google it. How do I save receipts on my computer? And there will be tons and tons of ways, as well as YouTube. YouTube is a great place that I go to when I'm trying to figure out how to do something, and they will actually give you a video about that. And number 6, Be virus free. And, you know, I said this in some of my previous webinars about protecting yourself online. This is a reoccurring issue theme that I said in this presentation, but in all my presentations about digital literacy, security is number one. So make sure you have the proper protection on your line so you don't get a virus or a little bug that comes in and screws everything up on your computer that can access your information. Make sure you have antivirus program that is kept up to date, because if it's not up to date, it doesn't do anything for you, so that you are well protected. Okay, so just a few other online shopping tip. Make sure that when you are shopping online, okay, and this is a really big deal, make sure that they have a good return policy. I never, ever, 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 ever shop online without taking a look at their return policy, because number one, if they don't have a return policy, then you're in trouble. If you buy something that doesn't work out or doesn't fit and you can't return it, then you've lost your money. And not only that they have a return policy, make sure it's one that is good. For example, there are some stores that will say, we have a free return policy. They send you the mail slip. You don't have to pay for it to be sent back. They give you a certain amount of days to send it back. And as long as it's not worn or used, it is no problem. That is a great return policy. There are also stores that say, yeah, you can send this back as long as it's not used or worn, but you have to pay to send it back. And sometimes, let's say you bought a shirt that's $10, but you have to pay $20 to send it back. It's not worth to send it back because you're going to be paying more than what you paid for the product. So anytime you make a purchase online, make sure that they have a superb return policy before you purchase it. And especially on high ticket items, if you're paying $500 for something, you're gonna wanna make sure you can take it back if it doesn't work out. Always, always, always read a review before you buy a product. What is a review? It's people who comment to say how good or how bad the product is. I never purchase anything without reading a reviews, and that goes for trips, that goes for clothing, that goes for anything that I buy online. And you want to see a review about the company, and you want to see a review about the product. So you want to do or find out if it's good or bad on both of those things. And how do you find a review? All you have to do is put in Google or put in Yahoo or put in Bing. Let's say makeup reviews for Sephora, and makeup reviews for a certain product in Sephora. And normally they will have a bunch online. Makeup companies always have a lot of reviews online. Clothing companies usually have a lot of reviews online. So make sure you do a review on the company to make sure they are, number one, a reputable company, and number two, they are good and easy to work with. And you want to do a review on the product, because if you don't do a review and you buy the product and the product doesn't work out, then you go online and you said, everybody says this product is the worst product. You could have found that out before purchasing it and causing the hassle of having to return it. So review is a big thing. Buy things off season to get the best deals. So never, you know, right now, people are buying bikes. That's a big thing in Quebec City. And so if you want to get the best deal, you want to buy a bike in the winter. Might not be a lot around, but that's when you'll get the cheapest prices on certain products, if you can wait. And make sure you only buy from websites that have a good reputation. There are some websites that do not have a good reputation, and that is when a review comes into play. That is very, very important. Now, are we tired yet? No, these are all great basics for you to know, because when you are going online, it can be very intimidating, especially if you're not a regular user online. Those were my shopping basics, and I encourage you to read through them again. I know I might have went through them very quickly. We don't have a lot of time. It's such a big subject about going online because there's so much to know. You know, I had this presentation that was at 50 pages and I was like, you know, nobody wants to listen to me for 50 pages. So I had to cut it down. But I think these are basics that will help you feel secure while you're going online and will make it easier for you to understand when you are going online. So next we're going to go to online banking, and some people know what online banking is and some people don't know what online banking is. I never assume that everybody knows everything about everything, because we live different lives and some things we use and some things we don't use. So basically online banking means how to access your bank account using the web. So not going into a bank, and you have probably seen less and less, there's less and less banks, less and less people working in the banks because they want you to go online and do your banking. And why is this? Because it's cheaper for them. And it's easier for them. It makes it more efficient, but it's also easier for you too. It's a convenience thing. You can shop on your phone, you can shop on your tablet, you can shop on your computer. And so you don't have to take the time out of your day to leave your house to go and do banking. And it's usually free. And you can do stuff like pay your bills, send money to different people. If you have investments, you can check them out on your bank account as well. But there's also apps or applications, like I said earlier, that you can put on your phone that make it easier for you without having to type in www.desjardins.com. Desjardins has a little application or button that you can put on your computer or your phone or your tablet, and it's an easier way to access your information while you're doing transactions online. And so some people say, Michelle, I don't want to do online banking. I don't think it's secure, and I think that people are going to get my information, and that's why I don't do online banking. Okay, so my answer to that is this. If you do not have an updated computer, if you do not have antivirus software, if you are not careful about the information that you are sending out, if you do not create a really good password with questions that are not obvious, you don't want to put your address as a password, you don't want to put your dog's name as a password, you don't want to put your mother's maiden name or your mother's last name that she had before she got married, you don't want that as a password, because those are obvious passwords that people will use first. So if you do not use measures to secure yourself for online banking or online shopping or online anything, yes, you will be more often than not be open for thieves or hackers or people who want your information to get it. Absolutely. But I also have to say this, especially with online banking and banking in general, is that banks still use online systems in their bank. You're just walking up to the person and they're doing it for you. So regardless if you're doing it in your house or you're going to the bank, everything is still online. And guess what? Although banks have really hugely secure systems for their digital operations, that doesn't mean they're 100% either, and that they couldn't be hacked. And there have been situations in the past where that have happened. So whether you do it at the bank or at your home, as long as you take measures to be secure, it's actually a really secure process. So don't not be afraid, and remember that, okay? So another interesting thing I wanted to mention is that if you do stuff online, you are less likely to get overdraft charges, because they get these reminders to say, oh, okay, you're low in your account, or oh, you have to pay this bill. And you can set that up. And guess what? There's so many different features at every bank. I could not possibly go through all of them because all banks are different. All banks have different features. But I encourage you that if you want to give online banking a try, when you go into the bank to set it up, and we'll talk about that in a moment, ask them to give you a tour, to show you how to use it. And they are more than happy to do that. They don't mind that at all. So when you go to online banking, they will let you do these things. You can check your balance at any time, so you don't have to go to an automatic teller machine, or you don't have to wait in line. And because we know the banks are fewer and fewer with fewer people, and you want to save time, you can pay your bills, change money, anything to do with mortgages or loans or savings, bank statements. You can almost do anything with online banking. And one of the things that I want to say about that is that they are more than happy to show you how it works and give you the details when you go into the bank, so you feel more comfortable with online banking, because they want you to be more comfortable, okay? But one of the things is it is safe. So as long as you take the precautions, like I said, using your websites correctly, making sure they have logged timeouts. So for example, what is a timed log out? It means that when you go online and you're not using it for, like, let's say 5 minutes, they will automatically close off the app or the website that you're using, so it's not open forever, which leaves you open to people being able to get your information. Make sure that you check your statement frequently. I have people who check their statements 3-4 times a day to make sure that there's no problems in their account. But I would say at minimum, very minimum, check it every time you make a purchase, check it every time you want to return a product, check it once a day, or very at least check it once a week to see what's going on, to make sure there's no funny stuff happening. Don't reply to emails or texts that say it's from your bank, okay? Great example, I had a friend the other day come up, she showed me her phone, it said Desjardins has closed down your account. Click here to see what is happening, or to reactivate your account. And she clicked on the button, and I said, don't click on the button, because a bank will never, ever, 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 ever send you a text or an email about your account. They will do one of two things. They will either call you, or when you go to use your bank card somewhere, you will not be able to use it. So you will have to call them. But that is usually the case. They will deactivate or make your card unusable, and you will have to call them to find out what is going on. They will never send you a text. They will never send you an email that says something is wrong with your account. I have to tell you this, never, ever, ever click on those links and put in your personal information, because those are hackers trying to get your information. And remember that when you go online to do your banking, make sure that you log out or you close it down, okay? Those are really important things. Make sure you use secure Wi-Fi connections. So at your home is perfect, don't go in public. Make sure you always use a 3G or 4G connection, and that's all about the connection that you have at home that you use. Make sure, of course, like I said before, use antivirus software that's up to date, and make sure you have great passwords. So most banks today provide online banking service, and they are more than happy to sit with you and take all of the details so you can be set up online, okay? And for security reasons, they want you to, normally you'll have to go to the bank to set this up. You can rarely just set up an online banking at your home. In fact, I'm not sure banks actually do that. But after you set it up with the bank, they will send you a password via mail, and then gives you instructions on how to continue. So basically, before you can do online banking, you have to go to your bank and request it. Say, I want to go to do online banking. Can you help me set up an account? They will need your debit card, because when you go to do online banking, you will have to insert your debit card on the online platform. One thing I want to say about putting your numbers in the online platform and your password, a lot of them say save, so you don't have to remember. I personally don't like to keep my bank card information on the online platform, but that is just a choice. I think the less information you have saved on your computer, the better. And then they'll ask you to read and accept the terms and conditions. What does that mean? They will ask you to read a contract that says you are okay with us managing your personal information online, and you'll be ready to go. If for any reason you are nervous about setting up an account online, go and see your provider and they will set up a time for you and go through the whole process. Navigating online, it's crazy, isn't it? There's so much information to know. I don't even think I touched the tip of the iceberg. I really hope that you got something out of this presentation, and I hope more than anything you are not afraid about going online, because like I said, and like I will always say, as long as you take security measures to ensure that you've done your best, you should be okay. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow at 12:15 p.m., we have Tabby Nioni, who's going to come in and talk to you about her success as an entrepreneur in Quebec and how she did it with the language barrier challenges. You're not going to want to miss that. Our last one about maintaining your computer is going to be on May the 21st. That's going to be a short presentation, but very important one, because I know some of you want to know how to do it, and a lot of it has to do with security. Again, that's a recurring thing that keeps coming up. And then that's going to be it for a digital literacy series. I had a lot of fun with you guys, and I hope today, for those who are still trying to get comfortable online, I hope some of the tips that I gave you was very interesting. Of course, if I went too fast for you, because you know, we try to get as much information as we possibly can in the time that we have with you. Everything is recorded and put on qcrc.org or communitylearninginaction.org, which you can see the web addresses on this last page. And if you want a PDF copy of this presentation because you want to see it in detail, I will send it to you for free. All of my information is on both of these websites. You can contact me, Michelle_Osborne at qcrc.org. That is on the website. Everybody, have a fabulous day. I hope to see you tomorrow for the Facebook Live session, and I hope to see you for our last session on May 21st. And until then, go forth and do it safely online. Bye, everybody. Have a great one.